Meanwhile, Queensland Police are pulling out an extraordinary new weapon in their crackdown on bikies. The state's anti-bikie legislation bans members of criminal bikie gangs from gathering in groups of 3 or more. If they're caught, they face up to 3 years in jail. The ABC has learned that Queensland Police plan to combine that with a little-known provision that allows them to target bikies even when they've headed interstate. And as Matt Wordsworth reports, for the first time, a recreational enthusiasts group has been targeted by police.
On Brisbane's southern outskirts, members of the Vietnam Veterans and Veterans Motorcycle Club and its president Agro are enjoying a Friday night drink.
This is what the original patch used to look like.
They're a recreational group of former soldiers who share a love of motorcycles, with chapters in every state.
Did I lose them all?
Their clubhouse is now subject to new rules that ban outlaw gang members from wearing their colours inside licensed venues.
Because of the new regulations, we have to check that you don't have any insignia or markings of any kind that relate to the 1%ers.
Just a few hours later, 20 police, including some from Bikie Task Force Maxima, raided their clubhouse. We went back to hear what happened.
And the policeman over there said, "You're the president?" I said, "Yeah, I'm the president of the chapter."
Did you expect you'd be targeted like this?
Yeah, I do.
You thought this was coming?
I thought one day we would, yes, because they all know that we're here. We've been here for 11 years.
In a statement, police said the visit was to ensure that criminal motorcycle gang members do not attempt to infiltrate legitimate motorcycle clubs.
Is it disappointing for you because you're not one of the 26 listed criminal organisations, yet it seems to have an impact on you?
Well, it's going to have an impact on everybody. That's just not this motorcycle club here. People that go to any motorcycle clubs, which are Ulysses, Hog, people that ride with all them, the same impact's going to be there if they have a do.
One business owner has already been unwittingly caught up in the laws. Doug Meikle runs a construction company out of this industrial shed just north of Brisbane. But his property was included in legislation that named 41 properties as bikie hangouts, meaning outlaw gang members face jail terms for visiting them.
A customer of the bloke next door said to him, "Oh, that's this badass bikie next door that the shed's going to be taken back off and sold for proceeds of crime." And that's when I thought, oh, I better do something about it.
Right, OK, so those parts are all right.
He and neighbouring businessman Adam Leishman say the bikie who rented the shed left 7 years ago.
We need to have faith in the process that they're undertaking here. And when there's an incorrect shed, and incorrect by a long way, popping up on the list, and we're having, and poor Doug's having trouble getting it removed, I think that it's hard for the people of Queensland to follow the government into this, faith-driven exercise.
The laws have also declared 26 clubs as criminal organisations, so just being a member is now a crime. But according to long-time bikie advocate Russell Watty, one club, the Scorpions, doesn't exist in Australia.
We've asked around here in Australia, nobody knows of them, no one's heard of them, just very poor intel from the government's part if they're including a club that doesn't exist on their list of prohibited people.
It's also news to criminologist Dr Mark Locks, who studies bikie gangs.
We're not really sure who they are, and searches of all the government documents and other things online has turned up references to a number of groups that they may be referring to, such as the Red Scorpions or the Scorpion Boys in Western Australia. There's only one reference I can find to a group called the Scorpions, and that was a group that was associating with another outlaw motorcycle group in Perth, but they certainly weren't called an outlaw motorcycle group themselves.
But the laws appear wildly popular. A Reachtel poll found about 7 in 10 respondents either agreed with the laws or thought they should go even further, emboldening the Premier.
I respect everyone's opinion, but most of all I respect the opinions of all Queenslanders who want these tough laws.
The ABC has learned police are preparing for a new crackdown on members of the 26 criminal gangs.
They're planning to use Section 12 of the Criminal Code, which covers offences only partially committed in Queensland. It means if bikies gather in groups of 3 or more interstate, all police need to do is get a recording of it, such as security vision from an airport, a restaurant or even a service station. If the bikies then return to Queensland, they can be arrested and face up to 3 years in jail.
Dr Locks says the unprecedented crackdown will drive the gangs out of Queensland.
Well, the bikies will move, because one thing we know about bikie legislation all around the world is, and not just bikies, any organised crime, whoever has the toughest laws means people just move to a place where the laws are easier.
He says even if some or all of the laws are successfully challenged in the High Court, the desired effect would have been achieved, forcing them interstate. So the message for the rest of the country could well be, adopt Queensland's laws or adopt its bikies. Matt Wordsworth, Late Line.